So, hello and a very good evening. So, let's wait for one more minute and then we'll pitch in. We have had a couple of classes with respect to the files in Python, and today we'll be looking into the introduction about CSV files in Python. So, we'll just look into the introduction, the definition, the features, the advantages and disadvantages, followed by the functions for the the methods for the different objects. These are the things that we are planning to cover for the day. We'll just wait for one more minute. Okay, so let's start. I'm audible and visible. Second. Hello. Good evening and welcome to Let's Crack CBSE Science. Yes, I think things are okay with the sound as well as. So, welcome to Let's Crack CBSE Science, which will help you to crack all the 11th science examination and 12th science board examination with Unacademy, wherein you get um, opportunities to learn from the top educators, assured quality content, and definitely a great and a different learning experience via Unacademy. So before moving on to other details, let me give you a self-introduction. Hello, I am Shalini. I am a BTech and MTech holder in computer science and engineering, a teacher by profession with over 14 years of teaching experience. With Unacademy, I am excited to provide an inspiring learning experience to all the students via this online platform whom I could not have reached otherwise through my classroom or offline teaching. So, the topic of the day, as I told you, today we'll be looking into the introductory topics about CSV files. Okay. So, a few words about Unacademy before pitching on to the actual agenda of the day. So, Unacademy has grown out to be the India's largest e-learning platform. So it is not just because of the reason of pandemic situation, but also for the reason that it provides courses for a school-going student to an aspirant who's preparing for a competitive examination. So all you need to do is get a plus subscription and then enjoy and access the resources of Unacademy, that is unlimited live and recorded courses from the best educators all over India. So, introducing the iconic subscription. Now, iconic subscription in the CBSE level 2. Now, this would help you to take your CBSE preparation to a next level with your personal mentor, wherein you have a personal mentor. There is a provision for parent connect as well as live doubt solution. Now, all the features plus the plus subscription features will be enjoyed once you take the iconic subscription. Getting a personal mentor means wherein you get a one-to-one guidance from the top experts. Now, these top experts would be your personal mentor. Okay. Now, he or she would help you to align a learning strategy and resolve all your concerns regarding academics. Now, in the Parent Connect, wherein you have a session or regular open hours for the parents to discuss his or her ward's performance report with the mentor. So, the parent also receives a weekly performance report, like the progress report of the students on a weekly basis. Okay, and a chance to interact with the mentor and get to know in detail about the performance of the ward. So, live doubt solution. Now, so you can attend the exclusive doubt solving classes to solve your subject doubts, get customized study plan to track your progress. Okay. Now, I told you all the features plus the plus subscription features can be enjoyed once you take an iconic subscription. Now, with the plus subscription, you get a chance of access to the daily live classes. All the courses here are well structured and in line with the current examination syllabus. In the daily live classes, you get an opportunity to chat with the educator, engage in discussions, ask your doubts, and answer via polls. Now, all while the live classes going on. Now, you needn't worry if you miss out a live session because the same can be viewed in the recorded format also. Now, apart from that, you get live tests and quizzes. Now, this would help you to evaluate your preparation better and gives get a detailed analysis of how well you are getting prepared for the forthcoming examination. Now, to enjoy all these features, you need to take a subscription, okay, wherein you get unlimited access to the resources and enjoy all the features of Unacademy. So here is a snapshot of the different live classes as well as the recorded or forthcoming classes. Now, once you install the Unacademy Learning app in your smartphones, you get an intimation when a live session is going on. Okay. So the session would have the indicator indicating that this is a live, as well as you get sessions which are either recorded format in recorded format or the forthcoming sessions also. Okay, so everything would be listed. And then this is how the comprehensive syllabus would look like. You would have the different subjects, and underneath each subject, you will be having the various courses that are being offered by the various educators. So this is the Unacademy Learning app that you need to download and install in your smartphones. Okay. And I repeat, it is the Unacademy Learning app that you need to download from the Play Store and install in your smartphones and get a subscription based on your choice. Now, once you install the app, you need to select the goal. Okay. The goal is if you're a CBSE class 10 student, your goal is CBSE class 10. And if you're a CBSE class 12 student, the goal is CBSE class 12. Okay. And apart from the app, there is a Telegram app too. Telegram channel too. So all you need to do is download the app and see the Telegram channel name. So you need to click on the URL, search for it, and then click to join in the channel. Okay. So as I told you, once you install the app and select your goal, okay, so you would be redirected to which is the subscription type that you would love to choose, whether it is a plus subscription or the iconic subscription. Now, all the features with respect to all these subscription have been listed before in the previous slides. Now, here are the detailed description about the subscription fee. Okay. Now, this slide gives you a detailed analysis of the subscription fee for the Plus subscription, wherein you have three different plans ranging from a 3-month to a year subscription. Now, this is a Plus subscription fee details for class 12 student. Just a minute. Yes. So for the class 12 student, where you have three different plans ranging from a 3 months to a year plan. Okay. Now, and the subscription fee are also listed on the right hand side. And if you use the promo code SLYT, that is, if you use the promo code SLYT, you get a 10% discount on the Plus subscription fee. So my referral code SLYT would help you in getting a 10% discount in the Unacademy subscription fee. So a 3-month, which was costing you around 6,500, after on applying the code, would take you around 5,850. Now, similarly, the reduction can be seen in all the below plans. Okay. Now, here is the subscription fee details with respect to Iconic subscription. In the Iconic subscription, you have two different plans, a half-year plan and a full-year plan. So it is not just for the forthcoming board examinations. Once you take the subscription, it would help you to prepare for the JEE also, right? So the 6-month plan costing you around 17,000 and a year subscription for the Iconic subscription costing you around 28,000. But here again, if you apply my referral code or the promo code SLYT, there is a 10% discount on the fees. That is, the 6-month subscription fee would be reduced to 15,300, as well as a year subscription fee will again be reduced to 25,200. Now, these are the details with respect to Unacademy, the features and the subscription fee details. So let's move on to the agenda of the day. As you all know, we have been dealing with the class 12 computer science, and today we'll be looking into the introductory topics with respect to CSV files. So, these are the contents that we'll be covering in today's session. We'll be looking into the definition of CSV files, the different features of CSV files, then advantages and disadvantages, and also the methods, okay, used in the CSV file operations. So, what exactly is a CSV file? So, we have learned the text files, right? And we also saw that in the text files, data is stored in the form of text, right? Now, we're going to see what is CSV file. So, this is another category of file wherein things would appear more or less like the text file, but with certain differences. Okay. So let's see. A CSV, the full form says comma separated values. Okay. A CSV, or the comma separated values, is a plain text file format. Okay. So it's a plain text file format, and it is used to store tabular data such as a spreadsheet or a database. So what is a tabular data? A tabular data means something that can be stored in the form of a table, right? In the form of a table means it would definitely have rows and columns, right? So when you're having data which could be represented in the form of rows and columns, you call that particular data to be tabular data, right? Now, where exactly do you hear the usage of tabular data? You hear that in the MS Excel, right? You hear the usage in databases. So these are the places where we usually hear the usage of data in tabular format, right? So it stores the data in a spreadsheet or a database. Now it essentially stores the tabular data which comprises of numbers and text into plain text. So this is the next thing that you need to know. Whenever you're storing data, that is the numbers, there will be numbers or any other data type would be there, but everything is generally treated in the form of strings. Okay. or it is treated like a plain text, or similar to the concept of text files, wherein all the content is treated of by default of string type, right? So if you want to process in a file and then treat it based on their data type, it is the responsibility of the programmer to convert it to the desired data type. Okay. So a CSV, or a comma separated value file. Okay, so CSV files, the full form is comma separated value file. It is a plain text file format which is used to store the tabular data such as a spreadsheet or a database. It essentially stores a tabular data which comprises of numbers and text into the plain text. So this exactly is what the definition says. Now let us look into the various features of the CSV file. So the first thing that we need to understand is it is very similar to the text files because it is appearing in a human readable format. Now it is used to store tabular data. Now this is something, now all these features that we are going to list out from what we learned from the definition. Okay. So it is used to store tabular data in a spreadsheet or database. So when you have a CSV file and when you have the contents of a CSV file, it is very easy to get things, changed or copied to a Excel file or to a database. So this is the reason why CSV file has gained its popularity. Okay. And the delimiter, what do you mean by a delimiter? You have a separator character. So whenever you're having pieces of data, okay, now there is some sort of separator which would indicate, yes, this piece of data is separated from the next piece of data, or the fields in a row are actually, the fields in the row are actually separated, right? So the separator character in CSV files is called as a delimiter, and the delimiter by default here is the comma operator. Okay, so just a second. So, so by default, as I told you, the delimiter is the comma. So you may have other delimiters too. Okay, so just a second. Take a sip of water. Second. So, yes, back to our class. Sorry for the disturbance. So, right now we are discussing with the different features of the features of the CSV file. So, as I told you, it is very similar to a text file, and because the data is being stored in a human readable format, right? So, the next thing that we need to know is that it is used to store the tabular data in a spreadsheet or database. So, whatever values you have, it is very easy to get it transformed into a spreadsheet or a database. Why? Because in both spreadsheets as well as in a database, the values are stored in tabular format. That is, you have a row and column representation for it, right? Then the separator character that is used in CSV file is called as the delimiter, right? So what is it called as? It is a delimiter, and the default delimiter here is comma, though you have options for other forms of delimiter too. Okay. So continuing with the features, now each row here corresponds to a record in a database. If you're trying to create a database for a student, student database, in that case, you would have a collection of details of different students, right? Yes, Anis. Good evening. Yes, Gokul. Very good evening. So I told you when you're creating a database, then you would have, imagine it is a student database wherein you're going to enter the details about all the students, wherein you will have details like roll number, the marks, the name, etc. of student. Okay. Now in this case, each row would be treated as a record, right? A record of information corresponding to a particular student. So similarly, in a CSV file too, a particular row would correspond to a record in the database. Okay. So hence, in each row, pieces of data are separated by comma. So each of the value or each of the field is considered as a piece of data, and all these pieces of data are separated by the separator character. And which is the default separator character here? Comma, right? So here throughout we'll be using comma. Yes, Anis. Yes, Gokul and Ritvik. Very good evening and welcome to the class. Now, as I told you, the entire data is going to be stored as how it is going to be stored in a text file, right? In the human readable format. And for this reason, when things are going to be stored in the text format of a text file, everything would be represented in the form of strings, right? So there would be no specific data type. So when you read or write, usually when you need to be careful when you're reading the data and you need to do some calculations. It is up to the programmer to be careful so that if you want it to be a numerical data itself, you need to change it or change to the corresponding data type prior to the usage. Now continuing with the features. Now the CSV files generally open in MS Excel and nearly all databases. It is almost like in all forms of spreadsheets and databases, and all of them would have specific tools to import the same too. Okay. So hence it is the most popular way of storing data. Now this is a reason why CSV has gained the popularity. Now, let me take a small example. Imagine that this is a spreadsheet, okay, or some data that I have entered into the MS Excel, wherein, see the first one, what is it? You have the heading with respect to each of the column. Now, here, the data is in the form of a table, right? It is a tabular data, wherein you would have the different rows and then you would have the different columns, right? So you have columns with respect to roll number, name and marks, and each row will be the details about a particular student, right? The first row about the student ABC, followed by the student DEF and GHI, right? So each row can be considered as a a record of information. So this is how things would be interpreted. Now, assume that this is a spreadsheet information, and let's now see how things would be appearing. I mean, the same thing would be appearing in a CSV file. So the corresponding structure of the previous example in the CSV file, right? So this is how it would be looking like. So the very first line would be the heading. So the actual values would be following from the very next line onwards. So whenever you're reading from the CSV file, if you want to get the values, we will be looking onto from the second row. Okay, and see how the values from the heading itself, it is clear each of the piece of data or each of the field, they are being separated by comma, right? Same follows here also. Now we know that the heading says roll number, name and marks, and in each row the record says CS01 ABC 89, where CS01 would be corresponding to the roll number, ABC to the name, and 89 to the marks. Now each one of them is separated by comma 2, right? Now what if you are having something like this, CS03 and then 78? Now when you come across this line, or when you're trying to read this line and find that there are 2 comma here, we find that some data is actually missing. Okay, so this is how you interpret when the data is missing. Fine. So in such cases, things can go erroneous. Now, the same example of the CSV file we are taking, and let's relate to what we have already learned with the definition. Here we say that each line of the file, right? Each line of the file is called a record, and the very first line corresponding to the heading. Okay. So each record consists of fields or pieces of data separated by a delimiter, and here the default delimiter is comma. We have not changed it. Okay. Now let's understand why CSV file format actually used. Okay. Now see this. CSV is a plain text file which makes it easier for data interchange, right? So data interchange means from the plain text file format to any spreadsheet format or into the database. Now, so it is easier to import onto the spreadsheet or database storage as how we told right now. So for example, if you want to export the data of a certain statistical analysis, right, to CSV file and then import it to the spreadsheet for further analysis. See, from the CSV file, only if it is copied to a spreadsheet or something, you can make a graphical analysis or something like that, right? So the data as such being kept in a file is not going to help you process anything. So it can be easily converted to, or copied to, or imported or exported to any other format, right? I told you that. So for further analysis, definitely it has to be copied to a spreadsheet. Now, in such cases, we find that actually it is making the workload for the programmers or the users very, very easy. Okay, so when you have to process very large amount of data, say you're trying to process some sort of population analysis or the analysis of the students who are studying currently in a school or something like that. In this case, definitely it can be easily entered in the format of CSV files, and once you have the data entry done, it is very easy to get it transferred to a spreadsheet, and then the analysis could be performed very much easier, right? So any language supporting a text file or string manipulation like Python can work with CSV files directly. Now this again is another advantage with regards to language Python. Now it can directly access and work with CSV files because like the way it is supporting a text file. So we'll see that as we look into the basic or introductory functions on how to open, and then the objects or the methods used for reading and writing. Okay, so moving on to the different advantages of CSV files. Now, the definition itself and the example so far told itself would tell us what are the various advantages of using these CSV files, right? So CSV is human readable and easy to edit manually. So in the CSV representation, as it is stored in the format of plain text, definitely it's human readable and easy to edit manually. It is simply like a data entry operation wherein you can enter the details. The only thing is that the manual errors that occurs while entering, these are the only thing that you need to take care of. But other than that, the data entry, everything would be, I mean, the manual, all the tasks related to the manual work is very easy. Now, it is processed in almost all existing applications of the, I mean, like what we told in the programming languages, wherein it can work with CSV files directly, right? It is easier to create. Yes, it adds on with our first point. It is the most preferred import and export format for databases and spreadsheets. See, usually now, most of the companies prefer using CSV files because the data represented in the CSV files can be easily converted to spreadsheet wherein you can have large amount of data, and the conversion also makes it very easier. So this is the reason they prefer using the CSV format. See here, as we told you, large amount of data and small in size too. Okay. So now let's consider the disadvantage. Actually, there are a few disadvantages, but only the main ones have been listed here. There is no distinction between the text and numeric data. Why? As I told you, things are saved in the format of text files, right? So how are things stored in a text file? Everything by default in the format of strings, right? So there is no specific data type. There is no way in which you're treating number differently and strings or characters differently, right? So in a CSV file, there is no distinction between the text and numeric data, and there is no other standard way for representing the binary data also. So all these things accounts for the disadvantage of CSV file. Okay, so getting to learning about CSV file, the first thing that we'll be learning is the Python CSV module. Okay, so every reading and writing operation. See, when you have to work with CSV files, means definitely there should be some mechanism which helps you to read the data from the CSV file, to write something onto the CSV file, right? So we need to learn some functions with respect to this. When we are going to learn the functions with respect to this, the first thing we need to understand that all the functions or all the methods or all the objects that are required for the working with CSV files are defined in a separate module or separate package, which is called as the CSV module, right? And so Python uses the CSV package, which is a part of a standard library. So you need not install it. Okay, so it is there with the language itself. All you need to do is import the CSV module prior to usage in your program. So if you're trying to work with CSV files, what is the first thing that you need to do? You need to import the CSV module. So how do you do it? Using the keyword import. Okay, and name of the module is CSV, all in smaller case letter. So what is the syntax? The syntax is import CSV, as how it is being shown in the slide. Okay, so we understand that this is the first thing to be done, right? Now we're going to see the different CSV file operations in Python. Okay, so we understand that we can perform various manipulations once a CSV file is loaded. So the CSV module is required for reading and writing onto the files. So we have not yet learned the functions for it, but the first thing that we learned was importing the CSV module, and we saw the syntax of doing it. And why is a module to be imported? Because if you are going to work with CSV files, definitely you will have to do operations like reading and writing, And all the methods with respect to reading and writing onto CSV files are defined inside the module CSV. So for this reason, you need to actually import it. Now let us see how or what are the different ways in which you can open a CSV file and you can close a CSV file. Okay. So the first thing that we learned was definitely importing the CSV module, and so we have written that. Now, if you want to open a CSV file in the write mode, how do you actually open a text file in the write or in the read mode? We already know that it was using the open function, right? So the open function definitely had two arguments, wherein you had the first argument was the name of the file followed by the mode of opening it, right? The file mode. And what all could be in the place of file mode? It could have been read, write, append, R plus, W plus, A plus, right? Now all these modes are possible here too. And the same file function is used here also. Why? Because CSV is also a file, right? So open, and inside that you're having two arguments. Actually, you can have three arguments, and the third argument is optional, wherein you can change the new line. Okay, that we'll look into in the next class. So today we are just seeing the basic function syntax here of open function, wherein you're having two arguments. The first argument being the name of your file and the second argument being the mode, right? So how do you open it? Open or the file name comma the mode. Each one of them is a string, so they are being enclosed between double quotes, right? So if you are opening the file in write mode, you have the mode as W, and in read mode, you have the mode as R. Now, what would be returned? The file object, wherein it is being copied and assigned to the variable F. So F is going to be your file object. Okay. Now, how to close the file? In text files also we have learned the close method, right? Now close is now not a function because it is going to be accessed along with the file object. And what is the file object here? F, right? So to close the CSV file too, we'll be using the format f dot close. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to see is the CSV module provides two types of objects. Okay, what are they? The writer as well as the reader. Okay, so reader to read from the CSV file and the writer object to write into the CSV file. So these are the basic things that we need to understand. The reader to read from the CSV files as well as the writer to write into the CSV files. Now, let us learn something in detail. What is it? We are going to learn writing in CSV files. Okay. To write data to a CSV file, we use the writer method. Okay. The writer instance provides two methods to write data. So, what is it? It is actually providing you with two methods. What are the methods? Write row and write rows. Okay. Now from the name of the method itself, it is clear to us that one is a singular format and the other is the plural format, right? So in the singular format, write row, what will it indicate? It indicates writing a single row of data and returning the number of characters written. So the row must be a sequence of strings and number. Fine. So what will it do? It will just write a single row of data and returns. This method is going to return a value, and this value would give the count of the characters written onto the CSV file. So the row must be a sequence of strings and numbers. Now write rows. So that means now this is going to be a plural format. In that case, it is not a single row, but you have a provision for writing multiple rows. That means more than one row here, right? So it will help you to write multiple rows of data, and here it doesn't return anything. So since it is not returning anything, what would be this value returns? The special literal none, right? So here the rows must be a sequence. So these are the two methods used by the writer function. So see here, csv.writer, it would return a writer object. So csv.writer is actually going to return an object, right? So suppose CSVW is your object. So the object can be stored in the variable here. Now the returns a writer object that would write the data uh, into the CSV file. So when you're using it in the program, what happens? You would definitely be, after opening the file, there is a file object, right? So this file object has to be passed as argument to the writer function. Okay, to the writer function. Now since the writer function is defined inside the module, we are using it via the module. So it is like csv dot the object dot the or the object dot the method. Okay, so it returns a writer object that writes the data onto the CSV file. Now we also learned that there are two other methods inside the writer function, right? So write row and write rows. Now write row and write rows are what? They are methods, right? So how can you access these method? Only if we have the object. So the syntax would be the object dot the method, right? So whenever we are invoking the writer function, what happens? It would return an object. And what is this object? This object is our writer object. So currently if you are, you're going to write it like this, csv dot writer of your file object. Okay. So what happens for this file object or corresponding to this CSV file, you're going to use the writer function, and this writer function is going to create a writer object which is going to be stored in CSVW, and it is this value that you will be using in place of the writer object. So how do you use it? CSVW dot write row or CSVW dot write rows. Okay, just a minute. So when you are using it, CSVW dot write row, it will write one row of data onto the writer object, and write rows, definitely it will have the multiple rows of data onto the writer object. So this is how a write row and write rows would be working in the CSV file. Okay. So today was a shorter session wherein I have just included the methods for writing. In the next class, we'll be coming back again with the CSV discussion wherein we'll be learning the reader section, and together with all these methods, we'll be looking into a few examples also so that you would better understand the CSV files. You needn't worry because CSV files is a very short portion that is being included in the syllabus, and so this is the introduction. So to sum up what we have seen in today's class, we looked into the definition of CSV files, the full form of the acronym CSV, and why the CSV files has gained its popularity. Okay, except for the manual errors in the process of data entry process, actually there are not much of the disadvantage when we consider the CSV files. Then we also saw the features of CSV files. Along with that, we saw all the pros and cons corresponding to the files. And then what did we learn? We learned the different methods used in the CSV file operations. We actually saw the module CSV has to be imported. Only inside the module are the functions for reading and writing defined. So how did we import the CSV module? Using the keyword import followed by your module name, which was a CSV. And then we had for reading and writing, we had the functions reader as well as writer. Okay. And today we only saw the functions with respect to the writer, the methods with respect to the writer. What were the methods for reading, writing into a single row as well as multiple rows. So we saw right row as well as right rows. So these are the things that we covered in today's class. Okay. So introducing the Revise-a-thon, which is actually going to run here from 12th December and 13th December here. So 12th December for class 11th and on 13th December for both class 10th as well as class 12th, wherein you will have classes and revision sessions actually conducted by the top educators and your favorite educators in Unacademy. So this is set with, the revision is set with so much of important questions. So this, which would help you in your CBSE exam preparation. So this is, in nutshell, the timetable, okay, section of the timetable that has been listed or scheduled for the different classes. So so this is the details. So this would be a rapid revision session designed especially for classes starting from 10th to 12th, where the top educators would help you identify the strength and improvement areas right before the forthcoming board and annual examination. It will be conducted on 12th and 13th. Today actually it started and we have the sessions tomorrow also. So those who wish to take up a revision and get different dimensions for the preparation of board examination, please do not miss it. Do reach out to Unacademy for Revise-a-thon. Okay. So all you need to do is pick up the right class for you, and then after selecting the classes would appear the different sessions. Okay. So once again the timetable. Um, so on 13th December, that is tomorrow, you'll be having sessions for class 12th. Okay. So the class 12 sessions, actually there are four sessions. The four sessions with corresponding to biology, maths, physics and chemistry. That is maths and science in short. So please do take up the revision so that this would help you to prepare for your examination better, and you get an opportunity to meet all the top educators for science and mathematics who would help you to go through the Revise-a-thon. Okay, so you can use my code to unlock the free content in the Unacademy Learning app. As I already told you, other than the YouTube channel, we also have an Unacademy Learning app which you need to download from the Play Store and install in your smartphones. And you have to use this invite code SLYT. I repeat, SLYT to unlock the free content. So with this, we have come to the end of today's session. So before bidding good night, let me remind you once more of my code SLYT, which would help you in getting a 10% discount in the Unacademy Plus as well as Iconic subscription. All the details with respect to the Plus and Iconic subscription was already discussed in detail in the beginning of the session. So thank you all for joining and hoping to meet you all tomorrow with another session. Okay, in the coming days. Okay, then, good night.